Mr. Case.
Thank you. The overall purpose of the hearing is to discuss with you whether the big picture, long-term fiscal and operational considerations have been thought through, were thought through when we got a pretty sudden and unexpected request for a supplemental appropriation. So it's one thing to deal with the supplemental appropriations, another thing to deal with kind of the implications of it over the long term. And you have commented in response to the chair's question that you would be submitting with the FY21 budget a long-term out-year projection for this particular proposal, correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And does that submission include an updated full life cycle mission cost, assuming a 24 mission?
Yes.
Okay. Does it include, you're proposing to outsource essentially a lot of this work, right? So you're going to have a whole bunch of development partners out in the private sector on fixed contract situations. That's your intent, right?
Yes.
Okay. Do you that's going to take a lot of internal supervision because that's a lot of money running wild out there, and if not adequately overseen, it could easily get away from you budgetary-wise as well as I would suspect quality-wise. So do you anticipate that in your recalculation of an accelerated mission you would beef up your oversight capabilities inside NASA?
Well, I think we have pretty good oversight capabilities already. What we're doing is we're applying the lessons of the past. If you look at how we resupply the International Space Station right now, we do it with what we call commercial resupply. What that means is NASA doesn't purchase, own, and operate the hardware. We buy a service from a robust commercial marketplace. That robust commercial marketplace was, in fact, developed by NASA with our investments, where we invest our money, our commercial providers invest their money. We started off with 3 different providers. We down-selected to 2, but now they're competing against each other on cost and innovation, which does drive down costs. It makes sure that we're continuing to innovate to drive down costs, and the goal is to create a competitive environment. And because we did commercial resupply that way, the cost savings have been significant. And we're on the cusp of having success with commercial crew as well. The interesting thing is when we do programs in this fashion, the contractors don't come back to NASA and ask for more money all the time. In fact, they both want to be first. And so what we do absolutely provide, our engineers are embedded with their engineers. Our finance folks are working with their finance folks. Our development and the fixed price that you mentioned before, that fixed price has milestone payments associated with it, so we are controlling the process all along the way. But the goal here is to have, as much as possible, we want NASA to be a customer of services, especially for low Earth orbit, and then ultimately not just a customer, but also have providers, numerous providers that compete against each other. Now, that's how we're doing the low Earth orbit activities, but we need to go to the moon. To get to the moon on schedule, we're gonna need to use the SLS rocket, and that's gonna be a great program going forward for long periods of time.
Okay,
so different. It's a mix.
I got it. So I would just suggest to you that's a concern of mine at least that that you be able to watch big accelerated contracts. And then number 2, do you anticipate that a corollary of your proposal to accelerate would also be an acceleration of a Mars mission? Is that sequential? In other words, is that a big picture, long-term consideration that this committee should know about? Because if it may not only be about the moon that you're asking an accelerated program for, and I don't think we would want to be surprised on that one. We'd want to know what the big picture, long-term plan is for the overall deep space exploration.
Yes, sir. Congressman Case, you are hitting the nail on the head, which is the sooner we get to the moon with an architecture that is sustainable. We need to learn how to live and work on another world. That's what enables us to go to Mars. When we go to Mars, we have to be there for a long period of time. So we have to use the moon as the proving ground so we can get to Mars. If we delay the moon program, by definition, we're delaying the Mars program. If we accelerate the moon program, we are by definition accelerating the Mars program. That's a great question and a good point.
Thank you. I hope we get that information in the context of FY21 as well.
Yes, sir. We'll make sure, we will have strong Mars content in the budget request.